create? Because I'm born this way. I just, I see things everywhere I look. I see pictures and colors and shapes and interesting things. And in my mind, I'm always framing them. They're just there, and I can turn them into pictures. And I use my camera. My digital camera really opened up my world, so I could take decent pictures to use as reference material. You have to create. That's what it's all about. It gives you control over your world. It's the language of the visual that's very different than the language of the verbal, and the language of the visual we use all the time. We don't even think about it because you see it in advertising, you see it everywhere you look, and people don't even realize it's there. I can claim a little piece of something that I've seen and bring it into my room, and I own it. I just started this morning, so it's just the background stuff. So I tend to, this is acrylic. I do some acrylic and some oil, mostly acrylic because I find it faster and easier, but I do like oil too. And sometimes I've started out with an acrylic base, and then I've done the oil on top, which you can do, but you can't do it the other way around because you can't put acrylic over oil, but you can put oil over acrylic. So what I would do here is I've got the dark, so I do the darks, and then I would build up the lights on top, because that's what it calls for, right? It's like every picture is a puzzle, and it's to find the solution to solve it, and a lot of them require solving in a lot of different ways, and sometimes there isn't the right answer. Sometimes there's a whole bunch of answers, and none of them are the right, but they all work, right? I was just thinking the birch trees and the lawn chairs and the fall leaves look kind of, I kind of paint in season. Mm-hmm. So if it's fall, I'm painting fall. If it's winter, I'm painting winter, because that's what I see around me, right? I like being outdoors. What I see outside is it affects the way I think and how I feel, and fall's my favorite season. I tend to paint things that are real, but I don't think it really matters whether something's real or whether it's abstract, because no matter how you look at it, it's only paint, and it's only line and shape and color, and whether it's abstract or whether it's something that the human brain sees as a real thing. So it doesn't really matter. And I've been painting I've been doing art a long time. And I went to Georgian College in Barrie a long time ago, and I took design arts, and I majored in textile design, and I started out as a weaver and a spinner and a quilter. And I did that with great satisfaction for a long time. And then at some point I was doing quilted wall hangings by machine, and I was doing like horses and cutters, and getting the three-dimensional effect in fabric. And I thought, if I could do this in a quilt, I bet I could do this in paint, no problem. And I could. I was quilting all my life because my mom was a really good quilter, and she had me hand quilting on her quilts when I was really young, and I'm sure she probably ripped out my first stitches after I went to bed, but it didn't matter. I was learning, and I was sewing very young too. I quilted for a long time. I actually sold quilted wall hangings at craft shows for a lot of years, a long time ago, until I switched to painting. But through the last couple of years of COVID, I found quilting kind of a soothing thing to do. What I did for this was I gathered real leaves from the forest last fall, and I hand printed them on little blocks of fabric, and I just kept printing more, and it was a lot of fun. And then I went looking through my stash of fabric, and anybody who's ever quilted has a stash, and I love batik fabrics the best. So it all kind of worked. I managed to have enough fabric on hand. Well, no, I bought some, but anyway, no, I managed to find fabric that kind of belonged with each leaf, and I sewed them together, and then it's hand quilted. Can't really see on the back, but it is hand quilted because that's what I know how to do. At one stage of my art journey, I was painting on tinware, and I would go to yard sales and look for saws and kettles, saw blades, and whatever I could find that was metal to paint on. And I really like painting on the metal. It's a whole different feel from canvas. This was sort of the next step. When I started to paint seriously, I started out with some folk art lessons when folk art was in, and then very quickly stopped doing the stylized stuff and just started doing my own creations. Really, I guess this is how I taught myself to paint the way it's a development, right? Anyway, this was on a crosscut saw. This is the farm where I grew up. And the farm's still there on the 12th concession of Brock, but there's trees all in front of it now, so you can't even see the house from the road anymore. Welcome to my garden. This is where I get a lot of my inspiration and where I spend a lot of time. When I started gardening, it was I thought I might like to paint flowers, and I thought the best way to have original material to paint from would be just to see what I could grow in my garden. When you're an artist, you don't just stick to one medium. It's a journey, and you try all kinds of different things along the way.